So today I wanted to show you how to store food for 30 years and what a year's worth of food storage looks like for one person. I've got several strategies when it comes to food storage, but one of my strategies is actually just bulk calories with dry goods. Not all dry goods will store for 30 years, so you really want to pick which ones you store. I don't have the list memorized off the top of my head, but some of the things that are going to work are like white rice, pasta, salt, sugar, corn, rolled oats, but not steel cut oats, things like that that have a low water content. Wheat is another good option. But things like flour are not going to work because flour has a higher percent water content than other things, and the flour is just going to rot after about 4 years. These are just bulk calories though. They're not a lot of nutrients in these kind of like grains and things like that. So I try to supplement my dry goods with freeze-dried goods. Freeze-dried goods are great because you can do protein, you can do superfoods like spinach and blueberries and things that have a lot of vitamin C in them. So I try to supplement my bulk calories with nutrient dense items that I can freeze dry. Another strategy that I do is I have what I call like active food storage, and I store that in the form of seeds. Seeds are a great option because if times get really hard, you can just stand up your own garden and start growing that way. One thing that I think about when it comes to active food storage is foods that are going to keep for a long period of time. When people were coming west, a lot of people would end up dying in the spring because they just wouldn't have enough food to last them, from fall to when they were able to grow their own food again. So that's why I tend to stick with things like potatoes and pumpkins, things that are going to keep for 6 to 7 months, because I want to make sure that I can last from fall until spring when I'm able to grow more food. This is, again, worst case scenario. I don't expect that I will ever have to use my food storage, but it's a great insurance policy. Today I'm going to show you how to package dry goods. I have a few things that I like to package them in. Really, anything is probably going to work. It's just if you don't do it like absolutely correctly, it could diminish the lifespan on the food. So I want to get 30 years out of this. So I'm going to take these Mylar bags. These are 5-gallon Mylar bags, and they also have a zipper top, which is really nice. But I'm going to package the food into these Mylar bags, and that Mylar bag is going to go into a bucket. Inside of the Mylar bag, I've got oxygen absorbers and I have water absorbers. These are like silica pack gels, or silica gel packs. There we go. I don't have a whole lot of these silica gel packs left. They're not super critical, but they do help quite a bit. The other thing though is that these oxygen absorbers, they will act as a water absorber. So I am going to want at least 2,000 cc's of oxygen absorbers. I don't have, they sell like giant oxygen absorbers that are like 2,500 cc's, but I don't have those. So I have 3,000 cc's in smaller oxygen absorbers. So each one of them is going to get one of these packs. And then I don't have enough of these water absorbers left over. I just kind of forgot to get them. But I'm going to go and just take 2 of these and put them in because these will also absorb water. So one thing that you want to think about is that these silica packs will only absorb about 10% of their water content, or of their weight in water content. So, if this pack, weighs, let's say, half a pound, like it's only going to absorb like, 1/10 of half a pound in water content. Not a whole lot. These don't have a whole lot of water content in the grains, but just something you want to consider. So with the dry goods, I'm going to, again, want to try and get as little water in there as possible, or if there is water in there on accident, I'm going to try and get it out. That way it stores, and that's done with this. And then obviously oxygen is always going to spoil food. So, having oxygen absorbers in there is going to help a ton. The other thing that you're going to want when it comes to Mylar bags is you're going to want a large flat iron like this. I borrowed this from my wife, but with these large bags, you either need a giant press, like one of these guys. You either need a giant one of these, or you need a flat iron. The flat iron works really well and super cheap. You can pick these up for, I don't know, 20 bucks at Walmart. But that's just something that you're going to want to use in order to seal the bags. Today, I've actually got about 18 months worth of food storage for one person that's going to be donated to a family here in the local area. So I'm packaging this up for that family. I imagine that the food will probably get used before that, but either way, it's good for 30 years in case they need it. When it comes to cost, I plan for about $500 per year per person in dry goods. So that includes the buckets, the Mylar bags, the oxygen absorbers, water absorbers, everything included. It's about $500 a person for bulk calories for a year. The other thing that you want to consider is that 1 pound of rice is somewhere between like 1,200 and like 1,500 calories, and it's that way for most items when it comes to dry goods. So I plan for, let's say 1,500 calories per pound. So it's not a full day's worth of calories. It's not 2,000 calories, but it gets it close. So if you imagine that, hey, this is a 25-pound bag. There's about 30 days in a month. It's really rough math, but I plan for about 1 bucket per person per month. Again, that's rough math, and that's not all the calories that you would need. You definitely want more than that, but that's where I supplement it with freeze-dried goods, and then also my active food storage like seeds. So if I can get 1 bucket per person per month, then I think I'm pretty well set. I can supplement the rest, or if I needed to trim up the calories, I could eat a little bit less that month, kind of thing. With that, I'm going to speed up the video and kind of show you how I package them.
One reason I like using 5-gallon buckets as well as Mylar bags is because of flooding. The 5-gallon buckets would probably be okay by themselves, but with the addition of the Mylar bag, there's just an added layer of protection in case of flooding. I don't really consider myself a prepper, I'm more of a just-in-caser. As a firefighter, we had the same philosophy that we would do all this crazy training in the hopes that we'd never have to use it. There's something called Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and the very first thing that humans need is food. Our need for food comes before safety, which means that we'll literally put our safety at risk in order to satisfy our food needs. I hope that I never have to use any of my food storage, but we do have insurance just in case something happens. We have insurance on everything from our cars to our food to our health, so it makes sense just to have a little bit of insurance on our food as well. Getting back into the technical side of things, here's a list of everything that will store for 30 years or more. First up on the list of 30-year food storage items would be wheat. This is a pretty common one, but you want to stay away from things like barley pearls, because barley pearls will only keep for 4 years. The second on the list is white rice, but you want to stay away from brown rice, because brown rice actually has oils in it that won't keep for 30 years. So you want to stay with just long grain white rice. The third on the list is corn, and this is just dried corn in grain form. Today, I actually packaged mushroom popcorn. It's actually the same price as regular corn, but if I ever want to do some fun desserts, I have the ability to do that. The next on the list is sugar. It should keep indefinitely because it is a pure chemical. As long as it stays dry, it'll be good. Pinto beans are the next one on the list. Other beans like black beans will also keep for 30 years, but not all species of beans will keep for 30 years. Some are going to have different oil contents, and the oil can cause spoilage. So before you store dry beans, you just want to check the specific variety that you're trying to store and make sure that it has a long shelf life. Next up on the list is rolled oats. These are great for oatmeal cookies, which are one of my favorites, so I'm definitely putting these in my food storage. Next is pasta, which is actually kind of cool that you can store pasta for 30 years, and this includes any variety of pasta. I assume that some of the specialty pastas that are made of different things may not work, but regular pasta should work just fine. The next one is potato flakes, but you're going to want to stay away from instant potatoes because those have oils and fats in them that are going to spoil. Instant potatoes generally only store for a handful of years, so you just want to make sure that you get just plain potato flakes. The next one is apple slices. Last but not least is pretty much anything that is freeze-dried will keep for 30 years. There are exceptions, but anything coming out of your garden that is natural is going to last for 30 years once it's freeze-dried. Other things you're going to want to add are things like salt and baking soda. Salt is a great preservative, and you can actually preserve meat with it, like salted pork. And baking soda is a great leavening agent. You can use it for baking and things like that. Storing a year's worth of food storage really isn't that difficult, and it's not too expensive. If you budgeted about $50 a month for a year for food storage, you could have a year's worth of food storage saved up pretty quickly. Hopefully you found this valuable, and if you have ideas on videos you'd like us to do, just let us know in the comments. I do read all the comments, and thanks for watching.